Before we dive in, a quick but important note. The information in this video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute legal or financial advice. I am not an attorney or a financial advisor. Divorce is a complex process with significant legal and financial consequences. Please consult with a qualified professional in your state to address your specific situation. The silence in the room is so thick you could cut it with a knife. Across the table sits the person you promised to love forever, but now they feel like a stranger, an adversary. Your stomach is in knots, your heart is pounding against your ribs, and the mediator is looking at you, waiting for you to speak. You can feel the tension crackling in the air. One wrong word, one misplaced accusation, one flicker of old resentment, and this whole fragile process could shatter into a million pieces, sending you straight down the path to a brutal, expensive court battle. You feel powerless, trapped. You just want it to be over. What if I told you that in that exact moment you have more power than you think? That you don't need to be a master negotiator or a legal genius to get through this. This isn't about learning secret legal loopholes or how to play hardball. This is about communication. This is about learning a new language for one of the most difficult conversations of your life. And today I'm going to give you the keys. We are going to break down the exact communication strategies that transform hostile mediations into productive problem-solving sessions. You're going to learn how to make your proposals heard, how to dismantle arguments before they even start, and how to walk out of that room not feeling drained and defeated, but feeling like you've built a stable, fair foundation for your next chapter. The first and most critical strategy isn't a tactic at all. It's a complete and total mindset shift. You have to burn this into your brain before you even step foot in the room. The goal of mediation is not to win. I'll say it again. The goal is not to win. It's to solve a problem. This sounds simple, but it's the single biggest mistake I see people make. They walk into mediation wearing emotional armor, carrying a scorecard, ready for battle. Every single issue, the house, the retirement accounts, the holiday schedule with the kids, becomes a hill to die on. It's a fight. And in a fight, there's a winner and a loser. Your brain tells you, if I give in on this, I'm losing. If they get what they want, it means I'm being taken advantage of. This win-lose mindset is a poison. It guarantees you will both lose. You will lose time, you will lose staggering amounts of money in professional fees, and you will lose what's left of your sanity and emotional well-being. Let me tell you about a couple we'll call them Mark and Sarah. They came to mediation to divide a single major asset, a successful small business they had built together. Mark felt he deserved the majority share because he handled the operations. Sarah felt she deserved the majority because her initial idea and family money got it off the ground. They walked in ready for war. For 6 months they fought. Not negotiated, but fought. Every session was a relitigation of their entire marriage, disguised as a business discussion. You were never there, he'd say. You only cared about the money, she'd fire back. Their legal bills skyrocketed past 6 figures. The business, neglected during the conflict, started to lose clients. Their employees were stressed, caught in the crossfire. In their quest to win control of the business, they were burning it to the ground. They were both losing catastrophically because they were stuck in a fight. Now imagine we rewind. Imagine Mark and Sarah walk in with a different mindset. Instead of how do I win, they ask, how do we solve this problem? The problem isn't who was more important in the marriage. The problem is, we have one successful business and 2 separate futures that need to be funded. How do we solve this? Suddenly the entire dynamic changes. It's no longer Mark versus Sarah. It's Mark and Sarah versus the problem. It's a collaborative effort, even if it's the last one they ever have. The questions change. Instead of why do you deserve more, it becomes what are the possible options here? Could one buy the other out over time? Could they sell the business and split the proceeds? Could they hire a general manager to run it and both take a salary as silent partners? The focus shifts from blame to brainstorming, from the past to the future. This is your first mission. Reframe your entire divorce. It is not a moral failing. It is not a contest to see who was right and who was wrong. It is the logistical and financial dissolution of a legal partnership. It's a complex problem that needs a solution. Your spouse is not your enemy. They are the other party in a very complicated business deal. And the mediator is not a judge there to declare a winner. They are a facilitator, a neutral expert there to help you both attack the problem. So how do you actually do this? Before your mediation, take out a piece of paper. At the top, write down your number 1 goal. Is it to keep the house? Is it to get a certain amount in spousal support? Now cross it out, and instead write down the problem that goal is trying to solve. Instead of "I must keep the house," the problem is "I need a stable, affordable home for myself and the kids in their current school district." See the difference? Keeping the house is a non-negotiable demand. It has one answer, yes or no. It's a battleground. But finding a stable, affordable home is a problem that has multiple potential solutions. Maybe you do keep the house, or maybe your spouse buys you out, giving you a huge down payment for a new, more manageable home nearby. Maybe you sell the house and both use the equity to start fresh. By focusing on the problem, you open the door to creative solutions that you couldn't see when you were just fighting to win. Do this for every single issue. "I want 50-50 custody" becomes, "How do we create a parenting plan that gives our children maximum stability and meaningful time with both parents?" "He can't have the 401k" becomes, "How do we divide our retirement assets in a way that allows both of us to be financially secure in the future?" This shift from demands to problems is the foundation of successful mediation. It drains the emotional poison from the conversation. It forces you to be logical, forward-thinking, and creative. It's not about being weak or giving in. It's about being smart. It's about recognizing that the best possible outcome for you is a durable, fair agreement that you both can live with, reached without spending your kid's entire college fund on lawyers. You're not there to punish your ex. You're there to build your future. So, your homework before you even think about what you're going to say in mediation is to redefine what you're trying to do. You are not a warrior entering a fight. You are an architect entering a design session. You are there to solve a puzzle, to untangle a knot, and to build the blueprint for the next phase of your life. Once you've truly embraced this mindset, you're ready to learn the specific tools to make it a reality. And the very first tool, the one that can change the temperature of the room in an instant, is all about how you frame your proposals. It's a subtle shift in language that makes it almost impossible for the other person to say no without looking unreasonable. Instead of making a demand, you present a problem to be solved jointly. It's the difference between kicking down a door and inviting someone to help you find the key. Let's call this technique the collaborative frame, and it fundamentally changes the entire dynamic of the negotiation. The typical way people approach mediation is what's called positional bargaining. It's a tug of war. "I want the house." "Well, I want the house." "I want 50% of your retirement." You're not getting a dime. Each person stakes out a position, a demand, and you pull back and forth until one person gives up, or you meet somewhere in the miserable middle, with both of you feeling like you lost. It's adversarial by its very nature. It assumes a fixed pie that for me to win, you have to lose. The collaborative frame throws that entire playbook out the window. It redefines the game from you versus me to us versus the problem. This isn't just some feel-good, come-by tactic. It is a calculated, strategic move rooted in human psychology. When you state a demand, you activate the other person's defense mechanisms. Their brain immediately goes into fight or flight mode. They see you as an adversary to be defeated. But when you frame something as a shared problem, you invite them into the executive functioning part of their brain, the problem-solving part. You're effectively asking them to switch sides and sit next to you, looking at the problem together. Let's see this in action. Imagine a couple, we'll call them David and Maria. The flashpoint is the marital home. It's a classic emotionally charged issue. David's position is clear. "We have to sell the house. I need my equity out to get a new place and start over. It's only fair." From his perspective, he's being rational. Maria's position is equally firm. "Absolutely not. The kids need to stay in their school district. Their whole lives are here. Uprooting them now would be cruel. I'm staying in the house." From her perspective, she's protecting her children. In a normal mediation, this is where the war begins. Lawyers get involved, accusations fly. David accuses Maria of being financially irresponsible and living in a fantasy. Maria accuses David of being selfish and not caring about the kids' well-being. The mediator spends hours and they spend thousands of dollars trying to inch these two positions closer together. Now let's rewind. Imagine Maria has learned about the collaborative frame. David makes his statement. "We have to sell the house. I need my equity out." Instead of firing back with her own position, Maria takes a breath and applies the frame. She says, "Okay, I hear you. It makes sense that you need access to your capital to build your new life. That's a completely valid need. My biggest concern is making sure the kids have stability and can stay in their school and with their friends during this really tough time. So, it seems like the problem we need to solve together is this: how can we find a way to get you the funds you need to move forward, while also providing the stability the children need? Let's put our heads together on that. Do you feel the difference? It's night and day. The tension in the room just dropped by 50%. Maria didn't give up her goal. In fact, she strengthened it. But she did it in a way that's almost impossible for David to fight. Let's break down why this is so powerful. First, she validated his need. By saying that's a completely valid need, she disarmed him. He was expecting a fight, but he got an acknowledgement. He no longer has to scream to be heard. Second, she stated her own need not as a counter-demand, but as a piece of the shared puzzle. Notice she didn't say, "But I want to stay in the house." She said, "My biggest concern is making sure the kids have stability." She elevated her interest to a higher shared value, the children's well-being, which David, unless he wants to look like a monster, has to agree is important. Third, she explicitly defined it as a joint problem. The problem we need to solve together is. She put them on the same team. It's no longer David's problem or Maria's problem, it's their problem. And fourth, she invited collaboration. Let's put our heads together on that. This isn't a demand, it's an invitation. If David says no to that, who looks like the unreasonable one? He does. He's refusing to even try to solve a problem that addresses both his needs and the needs of his children. In front of a mediator, that's a very weak position to be in. This one shift opens up a universe of creative solutions that positional bargaining slams the door on. Now, instead of just arguing about sell or don't sell, they can brainstorm. Could Maria refinance the house and buy David out? Could they do a deferred sale where she stays in the house for 2 years and then they sell? Could David get a larger share of another asset like a retirement account in exchange for his equity in the home? The focus shifts from winning the fight to finding the best solution. Here is the simple 4-part formula you can use for any issue, from finances to parenting schedules. Step 1. Acknowledge and validate. Start by showing you've heard them. Use phrases like, "I understand that it's important to you that," or "I hear your concern about." This is not agreement. It is acknowledgement. Costs you nothing and buys you everything. Step 2. State your interest. Clearly and calmly state your underlying need or concern. Avoid phrasing it as a demand. Instead of, "I want the kids every weekend," try, "It's really important for me to have consistent, quality time with the children." Step 3. Frame the joint problem. Combine both interests into a single problem statement. So the challenge for us is to figure out, or the puzzle we need to solve is how to. Step 4. Invite collaboration. Explicitly ask them to work with you. What are your thoughts on how we could do that? Or let's brainstorm some options that might work for both of us. Let's try it with another common conflict. Holidays. The positional approach. I'm taking the kids for Christmas this year. You had them last year. It's a demand that immediately invites a counterattack. Now the collaborative frame. I know creating special holiday memories with the kids is a huge priority for both of us. Acknowledge and validate. And for me, ensuring we both get that quality time is key. State your interest. So the problem we need to solve is how to design a holiday schedule, starting this year, that feels fair and allows the kids to have a wonderful Christmas experience with both of our families. Frame the joint problem. What are some ideas you have for how we could structure that? Invite collaboration. See the power? You've just transformed a potential shouting match into a logistical planning session. You've taken all the emotional, accusatory energy out of it and replaced it with a practical, goal-oriented focus. This technique is your single greatest tool for controlling the emotional climate of the mediation. When you use it, you are no longer a passive participant reacting to demands. You become the architect of the conversation. You are the one who is calm, reasonable, and focused on solutions. This not only influences your spouse but also has a profound impact on the mediator. The mediator will see you as the problem solver in the room, which subtly but surely lends more weight and credibility to your perspective. But this framing technique, as powerful as it is only the first half of the equation. It sets the stage beautifully, but it falls apart if you can't genuinely understand the needs and interests your spouse is bringing to the table. You can't frame a joint problem if you only understand your half of it. You have to be able to hear what they're really saying underneath their angry demands and positional statements, and that requires a very specific kind of listening, a strategic tool designed to uncover hidden interests and de-escalate conflict on the spot. Is the engine that makes the collaborative frame actually work. This powerful listening technique is about fundamentally shifting your goal. Most of us, especially in a conflict, listen to reply. We listen for the flaw in their argument, for the opening to make our own point, for the exact moment to interrupt and say, "Yeah, but..." This is combat listening. It's what we do when we're trying to win. But in mediation, winning the argument almost always means losing the war. So, we're going to replace combat listening with something I call listening for the. It's the simple but profoundly difficult practice of listening not for what they are demanding, but for why they are demanding it. You're not listening for their position. You're hunting for their underlying interest. And these are two very, very different things. Let me show you what this looks like in the real world. Imagine a mediation session. The tension is so thick you could cut it with a knife. Let's call the couple Sarah and Tom. The topic is the family home. Sarah looks the mediator in the eye, her jaw set, and says, "I am keeping the house. It is absolutely non-negotiable. The kids and I are staying, and that's the end of it." This is a position. It's a hardline, black and white demand. Now, Tom's natural human reaction, the one fueled by months of anger and frustration, is to immediately fire back. He might say, "Absolutely not. We can't afford it. We're selling the house and splitting the equity. That is the only fair and logical solution." And just like that, we have a deadlock. Two cannons facing each other across a field. Neither can move forward without the other being destroyed. This is positional bargaining. It's a zero-sum game. For one person to win, the other has to lose. This is the road to a miserable, expensive, and emotionally devastating court battle. But what if Tom had been trained in listening for the why? What if, instead of reacting to the position, he chose to investigate the interest behind it? It would look and sound completely different. Sarah says, "I am keeping the house. It is non-negotiable." Instead of firing back, Tom takes a breath. He pauses. This pause is critical. It's him choosing strategy over instinct. Then he deploys the first step, acknowledge and validate. And this is key. Validating is not the same as agreeing. You are not saying, "Okay, you can have the house." You are simply reflecting back that you have heard the emotional and factual content of what they said. Tom might say, "I'm hearing that keeping the house is incredibly important to you. And right now it feels like there are no other options on the table." What does this do? It's like a psychological judo move. Sarah is braced for a fight. She's ready for Tom to push back, to argue, to tell her she's being irrational. When he doesn't, all that defensive energy she's built up has nowhere to go. She's momentarily disarmed. She feels heard. And when a person feels heard, their amygdala, the fight or flight center of the brain, starts to calm down. For the first time, a real conversation becomes possible. Now for the second and most important step, get curious. Tom is now going to use open-ended questions to hunt for the why. He's not going to ask yes or no questions. He's going to ask questions that start with what or how or prompt a story. He could ask, "Can you help me understand what about staying in the house is most important for you and the kids right now?" Notice the wording. It's not "Why do you want the house?" which can sound accusatory. It's collaborative. "Help me understand." It invites her to explain, to bring him into her perspective. Sarah might still be a little defensive, so she might say, "It's their home. It's the only home they've ever known." Tom stays curious. He listens for the why. The why here is stability for the kids. So he digs a little deeper, again with a gentle, open-ended question. "I get that. I want them to have stability too. What are you most worried would happen if you had to move?" And this is where the magic happens. This is where the true interests, the needs hidden beneath the demand, start to surface. Sarah might finally say, her voice cracking a little, "I'm worried the kids will have to change schools. They've already been through so much, and their friends, their teachers, that's their whole world. And my mom is 3 blocks away. She's the only person who can watch them when I have to work late. I can't afford a new place anyway. Where am I supposed to get the money for a security deposit and first and last month's rent? I can't do it." Look at what just happened. In 60 seconds, the problem has been completely transformed. It is no longer Sarah keeps the house versus we sell the house. That was the position. The true interests, the real problems we need to solve are: 1. How do we ensure the kids stay in their current school district? 2. How do we maintain the kids' sense of stability and normalcy? 3. How do we make sure Sarah stays close to her critical support system, her mother? 4. How do we solve Sarah's immediate cash flow problem for securing a new place to live? This is a radically different set of problems. And unlike the single, impossible problem of who gets the house, this new list of problems has dozens of potential solutions. The battlefield has turned into a whiteboard, covered in possibilities. Now, you can start brainstorming collaboratively. Maybe they agree that Sarah and the kids will stay in the house for one more year, until the school year is over, and then they'll sell. Maybe they run the numbers and realize that if Tom gives Sarah a slightly larger portion of his retirement account, she can use that cash to buy him out of the house. Or maybe they decide to sell the house, but they build a clause into their agreement that Tom will advance Sarah the money for a security deposit and first month's rent on a new rental within the same school district and within a 1-mile radius of her mother's house. Suddenly you have options. You have flexibility. You have room to negotiate. You've moved from a war over a single, non-negotiable asset to a shared project of meeting everyone's most important needs. This is the entire goal. You don't have to like the other person. You don't have to forgive them. You just have to shift from being adversaries to being joint problem solvers. Listening for the why is your key to unlocking this shift. It's not passive, it's active. It's not about being nice. It's about being effective. You are strategically gathering intelligence not to defeat your opponent, but to understand the problem so deeply that you can discover solutions that they can't even see yet. But this is only half of the equation. Listening like this disarms the other person and uncovers the real issues. But how do you talk about your own needs without accidentally reigniting the fire? How do you state what you want without sounding like you're making a demand and putting them right back on the defensive? That requires another tool, a specific way of framing your own proposals and expressing your own feelings. It's how you move from understanding their why to getting your own needs met without starting World War III all over again. This powerful tool is called the I statement. And I know if you've ever been to a single therapy session or read one self-help book, you've probably heard of it. You might even be rolling your eyes right now thinking, oh, this again. But I'm going to ask you to stick with me, because in the high-stakes, emotionally charged pressure cooker of a divorce mediation, understanding and mastering the I statement isn't just a nice-to-have communication gimmick. It is the single most effective weapon you have to de-escalate conflict, express your needs without triggering a fight, and actually get what you want. Most people think they know how to use it, but they get it fundamentally wrong. Let's look at a classic mediation disaster. Let's call our couple David and Maria. They're sitting across from the mediator talking about the finances. Maria has been the primary stay-at-home parent, and David was the primary earner. The tension is so thick you could cut it with a knife. David, looking at a spreadsheet of their debts, says, "You have to stop spending so much money. Your online shopping is going to bankrupt us before this is even over." Boom. The grenade has been rolled across the table. What just happened? David used what we call a you statement. You have to stop. You're shopping. You are bankrupting us. It's a statement of accusation. It's a judgment. It's a direct attack on Maria's character and behavior. What is Maria's inevitable biological human reaction? Defensiveness. Her walls go straight up. Her brain's alarm system is blaring. She's not hearing the concern about the budget anymore. All she hears is, "You are reckless. You are the problem." So she fires back. "Me? What about the thousands you spent on that golf membership you never use? You always have to criticize me. You never appreciated that I was the one making a home for our kids, while you were out playing hero at the office." And there we are. World War III. The conversation is no longer about the budget. It's about golf trips from 3 years ago, about feeling unappreciated, about who is the bigger villain in the story of their marriage. The mediator now has to spend the next 30 minutes trying to pull them back from the brink, and absolutely nothing productive has been accomplished. The budget issue is still sitting there, unsolved, but now it's covered in a fresh layer of anger and resentment. This is the destructive power of the you statement. It's a verbal finger point, and nobody, not a single person, responds well to being told what they are, what they did wrong, or what they need to do. Now let's rewind that scene. Let's give David the superpower of a properly constructed I statement. The situation is the same. The spreadsheet is the same. The financial anxiety is the same. But David takes a breath, and instead of attacking, he takes ownership of his own feelings. He says, "I feel incredibly anxious when I look at these credit card statements and see new charges. I'm scared about how we're going to cover all these debts on our current incomes, and it makes me worry that we won't have enough to create 2 stable homes for the kids. I need us to agree on a temporary budget that we can both stick to until the divorce is finalized. Let's break that down piece by piece because every single word is doing a specific job. The first part is, I feel. He starts with his own emotion. I feel incredibly anxious. I feel scared. This is psychologically brilliant. Why? Because it is inarguable. Maria can't say, no, you don't feel anxious. It's his truth. He's not stating a fact about her. He's stating a fact about his own internal experience. This immediately lowers the temperature in the room. He's not attacking. He's sharing. He's being vulnerable, which subconsciously signals to the other person that this isn't an attack. The second part is, when. This is where you describe the specific, observable behavior that is causing the feeling. Notice what David didn't say. He didn't say, when you go on your crazy spending sprees. That's a judgment. He said, when I look at these credit card statements and see new charges. That is a neutral, factual observation. Anyone looking at the statement would see the charges. It's not about Maria's motive or her character. It's about a concrete event. This is critical. You must separate the person from the behavior. The problem isn't your ex. The problem is the problem. The third part is, because. This is the bridge. It connects the behavior to your feeling. It explains the impact the behavior has on you. David says, because I'm scared about how we're going to cover all these debts. And I worry we won't have enough to create 2 stable homes for the kids. This is the why we talked about before. He's not just saying he's anxious. He's explaining the deep-seated fear behind it. And notice he even connected it to a shared value, the well-being of their kids. He's showing Maria that his fear isn't just about him. It's about their collective future and their children's stability. This makes it much harder for Maria to dismiss his feelings. He's inviting her to see the problem from his perspective. And finally, the fourth and most important part. I need. This is what turns a complaint into a productive request. Without this, an I statement is just a vulnerable vent session. The I need part is where you pivot to the future.
You propose a solution.
David says, I need us to agree on a temporary budget that we can both stick to until the divorce is finalized. It's clear. It's actionable. It's collaborative, he says, us. Not you. He's not demanding she stop spending. He's asking for them to work together on a shared plan. So the full formula is, I feel emotion. When specific behavior because impact on me, and what I need is actionable request. Look at the difference. In the first scenario, David launched a missile and Maria launched one right back. Stalemate. In the second scenario, David sent an invitation. He invited Maria to understand his anxiety, to see the shared problem, and to work with him on a solution. Is Maria still going to feel a little defensive? Maybe. This isn't a magic spell. But has he given them a fighting chance to actually solve the budget issue? Absolutely. He has kept the conversation on the rails, focused on the problem, not the people. You can apply this to everything. Instead of, you can't just take the kids on a trip without telling me. You're so irresponsible and you're trying to cut me out of their lives. Try, I feel hurt and panicked when I find out about travel plans for the kids from them instead of from you, because it makes me feel like I'm not an equal co-parent anymore. I need us to agree to discuss and confirm any travel that's more than 50 miles away with each other, at least a week in advance. Instead of, you're deliberately dragging your feet on getting your financial documents to the mediator. You're just trying to make this as painful as possible. Try, I feel frustrated and stuck when the deadlines for submitting our financial paperwork are missed, because it delays the entire process and increases our legal fees. I need to know if there's a specific issue holding you up, so we can figure out how to solve it and move forward. This isn't about being soft. It's not about letting the other person off the hook. It is the most strategic way to communicate in a conflict. It's about being clear, being honest, and taking responsibility for your own emotions and needs, which forces the conversation onto a more mature and productive level. You are modeling the very behavior you want to see. But here's the critical warning, the trap that most people fall into. They create fake I statements. A fake I statement is just a you statement disguised in I statement clothing. It sounds like this: I feel that you are being a manipulative jerk. Or, I feel like you're not even trying. See the trick? After the words I feel, there isn't an emotion. There's a that or a like, which is immediately followed by an accusation or judgment of the other person. It's a wolf in sheep's clothing, and your ex will see right through it. If the word following I feel isn't a genuine emotion, like scared, hurt, confused, anxious, worried, sad. It's not a real I statement. Mastering this one skill, the art of the true I statement, can radically change the dynamic of your mediation. It shifts you from being an accuser to being a problem solver. It moves you from talking about the past to building a plan for the future. It's how you express your deepest needs and fears without putting the other person on the defensive. But what do you do when your perfectly crafted I statement, your vulnerable expression of need, runs headlong into their equally valid, but completely opposite need? What happens when I feel scared and need stability for the kids in the house crashes directly into I feel trapped and need to be financially free from this mortgage? That's when the real art of negotiation begins. It's when you have to stop talking about your fixed positions and start building a bridge to a new solution that neither of you had even considered. This is where the magic of mediation truly happens. It's the point where you stop seeing each other as obstacles and start seeing the problem as the obstacle. The problem isn't your spouse. The problem is, how do we resolve the issue of the house in a way that meets both of our underlying needs? To do that, you need to master one of the most powerful communication techniques in any negotiation: reframing. Reframing is the art of taking a problem and changing the language around it, changing the perspective, so that it's no longer a battle to be won, but a puzzle to be solved. Imagine you and your spouse are on opposite sides of a river, each pulling on one end of a rope in a brutal tug of war. That's positional bargaining. I want the house. I want to sell. You're just pulling. Nobody is going anywhere. Reframing is like you both agree to drop the rope, walk to the middle of the bridge, and look down at the problem together. You're now side by side, not face to face. So, how do you do this in practice? You literally change the question. Instead of asking, who gets the house? You start asking questions like, how can we use the house to give the kids stability and give you the financial freedom you need? Or, what are all the possible ways we could handle the house to achieve both of our goals? Notice the language? It's we, our, both. It's collaborative. You've transformed a zero-sum game, where one person's win is the other's loss, into a joint problem-solving session. This single shift changes the entire energy in the room. The mediator's job is to help you do this, but you can lead the charge. When your spouse says, I'm not leaving the house and that's final, you have a choice. You can pull back on the rope and say, well, I'm not paying for a house I don't live in, so you'll have to sell. Or you can reframe. You can say, I understand that staying in the house is incredibly important for the kids' stability. I get that. Can we brainstorm some ways to make that happen that also address my concern about being tied to the mortgage for the next 20 years? You haven't agreed to anything. You haven't given up your position. All you've done is acknowledge their interest and reframe the problem as a shared one. You've just dropped the rope and invited them onto the bridge. 9 times out of 10, the defensiveness in their posture will drop just a little. Their shoulders might relax. Because you're no longer attacking their position. You're validating their underlying need. Once you've successfully reframed the problem, you enter the next crucial phase: creative brainstorming. This is where you generate options. And the number one rule of brainstorming is this: no idea is a bad idea. The goal is quantity, not quality at first. You're just throwing paint at the canvas to see what might stick. The mediator will likely have a whiteboard or a notepad, and you just start listing possibilities for the house. So what could that look like? Option 1, the buyout. One spouse keeps the house by refinancing the mortgage in their name only and paying the other spouse their share of the equity. This is clean, but it requires the staying spouse to have enough income and credit to qualify for the new loan, and enough cash or assets to pay out the equity. Option 2, the delayed buyout. Maybe the staying spouse can't qualify for a refi right now. What if they agree to pay the other spouse their equity over a period of time, say 3 to 5 years? This could be a lump sum later or in installments. It allows the kids to stay put, but it keeps the departing spouse financially entangled, which has its own risks. Option 3, the delayed sale. You agree that one person will live in the house for a set period, maybe until the youngest child graduates high school. After that, you sell the house and split the proceeds according to an agreed-upon formula. This is great for the kids' stability, but it means both of you are riding the ups and downs of the real estate market together for years. Option 4, nesting. This is a more modern arrangement where the kids stay in the family home full-time, and the parents are the ones who move in and out. You might share a nearby apartment or have separate places. The kids get maximum stability, but it requires an incredible amount of cooperation and communication between the parents. Option 5. Become landlords together. You could decide to rent the house out to a third party. The rental income could cover the mortgage and expenses, and maybe even generate a small profit that you both share. This turns a family home into a business asset, which can be emotionally complicated but financially sound. As you list these, you aren't agreeing to any of them. You are simply opening your minds to the fact that there isn't just one answer. There isn't just sell or keep. There is a whole universe of possibilities in between. To explore this universe safely, you need to use another powerful communication tool: the what-if scenario. This is your secret weapon for brainstorming without commitment. It's a way to test the waters on an idea without having to endorse it. It's hypothetical. It's non-threatening. Instead of saying, "I want to sell the house in 3 years," which sounds like a demand, you say, What if we agreed to sell the house in 3 years when Jenny starts middle school? What would that look like for us? Instead of saying, "You need to pay me my equity now," you say, "What if I were able to refinance but I couldn't pay you the full equity in cash? What if we explored a payment plan over 5 years? How would that feel to you?" What if is the language of possibility. It invites your spouse to co-create a solution with you. When you say "what if," you're not drawing a line in the sand. You're opening a door. Your spouse can walk through that door with you to explore the idea without feeling pressured to agree. They can respond with their own "what if." Okay, what if we did sell in 3 years? But what if the market tanks? How would we protect ourselves from that? And what if you paid me out over 5 years? What if you missed a payment? What would be the security for me then? Look at what's happening here. You're no longer arguing about positions. You are now co-designing a solution. You are identifying potential problems with an option and trying to solve for them in advance. This is the absolute peak of effective mediation. You've moved from fighting over the past to building a future. A separate future, yes, but one that you are constructing together with intention and care. But what happens when this process stalls? What happens when you've reframed the problem you're trying to brainstorm, but your spouse just digs their heels in and goes right back to their fixed position? They cross their arms and say, "Look, this is all very interesting, but I'm just not comfortable with any of these creative ideas. We just need to sell the house now so I can get my money and move on." The temptation is to get frustrated, to say, "You're not even trying. You're being completely unreasonable." But that just throws you right back into the tug of war. Instead, you need a strategy for dealing with this roadblock without destroying the progress you've made. This strategy is called acknowledge and park. First, you acknowledge. You validate their feeling, even if you don't agree with their position. You say something like, "I hear you. I hear that your primary goal is a clean, fast financial break. It makes total sense that you're feeling anxious about these other options that seem more complicated and drawn out. Your need for closure is completely valid." You see what you did there? You didn't agree to sell. You just showed them that you heard them. You understood their underlying interest. This lowers their defenses. Then you park the issue. You say, "Since we both agree that a simple sale is one possible option, can we just put that on the list as option A? Let's park it right there. And just for a few more minutes, can we explore one or two of these other ideas, just to make sure we're not leaving a better solution on the table? If they don't work, we always have option A to come back to." This is a masterful technique. You've honored their position by putting it on the list. You've made it a legitimate option, but you've also asked for permission to continue brainstorming, framing it as a temporary exploration. You're not dismissing their idea. You're just asking to put it in the parking lot for a moment while you look at other vehicles. It gives them the security of knowing their solution is still on the table, which makes them far more willing to look at yours. By using reframing, what-if scenarios, and the acknowledge and park technique, you are doing more than just negotiating the terms of your divorce. You are fundamentally changing the way you communicate about conflict. These are skills that will serve you in co-parenting, in business, and in all future relationships. But they are most critical right here, right now, when the stakes feel impossibly high. Because when you're talking about your home, you're not just talking about money and property. You're talking about memory, identity, and the very definition of family. And navigating that requires a level of communication that goes far beyond simply stating what you want. It requires a willingness to build something new, even as the old structure is coming apart. And sometimes, in that process of building, you uncover a problem that isn't about money or logistics at all, but about something much deeper, something rooted in the trust that was broken during the marriage itself. And this is one of the most dangerous and difficult parts of any mediation, Because you're no longer just negotiating over a spreadsheet of assets. You are now negotiating around the ghost of your marriage. You're dealing with what psychologists call a trust deficit. Think of it like this. In a healthy relationship, trust is the currency. You give and you take, assuming good intentions. You believe the other person has your back. But by the time you get to mediation, that currency is gone. Your account is overdrawn. Every word your ex-partner says is automatically filtered through a lens of suspicion and past hurts. When he says, "We need to be realistic about the budget," you don't hear a practical statement. You hear, "You've always been irresponsible with money." When she says, "I'm just concerned about the kid's stability," you don't hear a loving mother. You hear, "You were never a good enough parent." This trust deficit acts like a bad translator in the room, taking neutral words and twisting them into the worst possible interpretation. It's the reason a simple conversation about selling the family car can explode into a screaming match about that vacation you took 3 years ago. The car isn't the issue. The broken trust is the issue. Let's look at a real-world example I saw play out. We'll call them David and Maria. They were viciously stuck on the issue of the house. Maria wanted to sell it immediately. David wanted to wait a year until their youngest finished middle school there. On the surface, it was a financial and logistical debate. Maria argued the market was hot, they'd get a better price now. David argued that uprooting their son at that moment would be too disruptive. For weeks, every conversation was a dead end. Their arguments were circular, repetitive, and increasingly bitter. The mediator was getting nowhere. But then, during one particularly tense session, David finally exploded. He slammed his hand on the table and said, "I just can't have you controlling every single detail of my life anymore. When we were married, it was what car I drove, what friends I saw. And now, even in divorce, you're dictating where I live." And just like that, the real issue was on the table. It was never about the housing market. For David, the house represented his one last foothold of stability and autonomy against what he perceived as years of control. For him, giving in on the house meant giving in to that old dynamic one last time. Then Maria broke down in tears. She said, "Control? I was terrified. Your business was up and down, we almost lost everything twice. I wasn't controlling you, I was trying to hold our lives together. If we don't sell this house now, with what I'm getting in the settlement, I'm scared I won't be able to afford a safe place for the kids to live. I'm scared of being a bag lady." Do you see what happened? Their fight wasn't about interest rates or school districts. It was a battle between his deep-seated fear of being controlled and her deep-seated fear of financial ruin. These are what we call emotional landmines. They are the raw, sensitive triggers buried just beneath the surface of all the practical negotiations. And if you don't know where they are, you will step on them. Guaranteed. So the first and most critical communication strategy in this phase is to become an emotional cartographer, a mapmaker of your own triggers and, as best you can, your partner's. Before your next session, I want you to take out a piece of paper and do this exercise. Draw a line down the middle. On one side, write "my landmines." On the other, "my ex's landmines." Under your column, be brutally honest. What topics make your stomach clench? Is it money? Is it the introduction of a new partner? Is it criticism of your parenting? What words or phrases feel like a personal attack? Is it the word lazy, selfish, always, never? Write them down. These are your triggers. Knowing them doesn't excuse them, but it gives you power. When you feel that flash of anger or defensiveness in a meeting, you can pause internally and say, "Ah, there it is. That's the feeling-controlled landmine. This isn't about the lawnmower. This is about that old fear." Recognizing the trigger is the first step to disarming it. Now try to fill out the other side. Based on years of being with this person, what are their landmines? Are they sensitive about their career? Their relationship with their parents? Do they have a deep fear of being abandoned or looking foolish? You're not doing this to use it against them. You are doing this to avoid accidentally stepping on a landmine that will blow up the entire negotiation. A negotiation that you need to succeed. Once you have this map, you can employ the single most powerful tool for navigating a trust deficit: the future-focused pivot. The past is a graveyard of grievances. You cannot build a future there. When you have a trust deficit, every look backward is an invitation for another fight. The future-focused pivot is the conscious, deliberate act of grabbing the conversation and yanking it out of the past and into the future. It's about shifting from blame to solutions. It sounds like this. Your ex says, "Well, we wouldn't be in this credit card debt if you hadn't insisted on buying that ridiculous patio furniture." The old you would jump on that. Me? What about your golf trips? And you're off to the races, relitigating a fight from 2019. The new you, the strategic you, performs the pivot. You take a breath, ignore the bait and say, "You're right, debating past spending isn't productive. Let's look at the statement together right now and map out a plan. What's the most effective way we can get this paid off starting next month?" You see the difference? You didn't agree with the accusation, you simply sidestepped it. You validated the frustration. Debating isn't productive. And then immediately pivoted to a future-oriented, collaborative problem. How can we solve this going forward? Let's try another one. She says, "You were never there for the kids' doctor appointments, so why should I trust you with their medical decisions now?" That's a landmine. It's a painful accusation rooted in years of history. The instinct is to defend. "I was busy working to pay for the very house you're living in." Instead, you pivot. "I understand why you feel that way based on the past. So let's create a new system that we can both trust for the future. How about we use a shared online calendar for all appointments, and we agree that any major decisions will be discussed in an email first, so we both have time to think about it." You are not arguing about what was. You are building what will be. This isn't about being a doormat. It's about being a strategist. You are keeping your eyes on the prize, which is a fair agreement and a peaceful exit, not winning an argument from 3 years ago. And this leads to the final crucial strategy for rebuilding just enough trust to get through this process. You don't rebuild trust with words. You don't rebuild it with apologies or promises. In a divorce, those are worthless. You rebuild it with what I call trust bricks. A trust brick is a small, concrete, verifiable action. It's the opposite of a vague promise. A vague promise sounds like, "Don't worry, I'll get you the financial documents." A trust brick sounds like, "I will scan and email you my last 3 pay stubs and the 2022 bank statement from Chase by 5 p.m. this Friday." A vague promise sounds like, "Yeah, I'll pay the electric bill." A trust brick sounds like, "I will pay the $182 electric bill online before noon tomorrow, and I will forward you the payment confirmation email." See the pattern? A trust brick is specific. It's measurable. It has a deadline. And most importantly, it produces evidence of completion. Every time you say you're going to do something, no matter how small, and you do it exactly as you said you would, and you provide proof, you lay one small brick. You email the document by 4:59 p.m. on Friday. You forward the confirmation email. You show up to the drop-off 5 minutes early. You are not trying to rebuild the trust you had in your marriage. That house is gone. You are building a new, different kind of structure. It's more like a functional business partnership. And you build it one tiny, verifiable, undeniable brick at a time. This isn't about them. This is about you demonstrating that your word has meaning. It lowers the temperature in the room because it replaces suspicion with certainty, one small action at a time. It's slow. It's tedious. But it's the only thing that actually works when the old foundation has crumbled to dust. Now, if rebuilding from dust requires a new set of tools, the first one we need to pull out of the toolbox is arguably the most powerful and the most misunderstood communication device in human history. It's the difference between pouring gasoline on a fire and using a fire extinguisher. I'm talking about the radical shift from you statements to I statements. This might sound like some fluffy therapist office jargon, but I promise you, mastering this one concept can single-handedly change the entire trajectory of your mediation. It's the key that unlocks productive conversation when you're both locked in a stalemate of anger and resentment. Let's paint a picture. See if this sounds familiar. One person says, "You never think about the budget. You just spend money recklessly without any regard for our future." The other person's brain doesn't hear the specifics. It doesn't register budget or future. All it hears is a siren blaring the word attack. Their nervous system floods with cortisol. Their defenses go up like a fortress wall. And they fire back. "Oh, I'm the reckless one? What about that ridiculous golf membership you refused to cancel? You never listened to me about anything." And there you have it. The anatomy of a fight that goes nowhere. It's a verbal tennis match where the only goal is to smash the ball back as hard as possible. Notice the first word in each of those sentences. You. You spend. You never listen. A you statement is a verbal finger pointing directly at the other person. It's an accusation. It's a judgment. It's a label you are slapping on them. And human beings are hardwired to resist being labeled and judged. When you start a sentence with you are not inviting a conversation. You are initiating a battle. You are essentially saying, there is something wrong with you and I am here to point it out. The predictable, almost guaranteed response is for the other person to either defend their character or launch a counterattack on yours. Nothing gets solved. The problem gets bigger, the resentment deepens, and you both walk away more convinced than ever that the other person is impossible. Now let's rewind that same scenario and pull out our new tool. Let's replace the you statement with an I statement. Instead of, you spend money recklessly, imagine saying this. I feel anxious and scared about our financial future when I see large, unexpected expenses on the credit card statement, because it makes me worry we won't be able to cover the mortgage. Let's break that down. The sentence starts with I. It takes ownership. It's not about what the other person is. It's about how you feel. It follows a simple but profound formula. I feel your emotion, when a specific non-judgmental description of the behavior, because the tangible impact it has on you. Let's look at the magic here. First, I feel anxious and scared. Can your ex-partner argue with your feelings? No. Feelings aren't facts to be debated. They are your personal subjective experience. They can't say, no, you don't feel anxious. That's absurd. By starting with your own emotion, you've immediately lowered the defenses. You're not attacking them. You are revealing something vulnerable about yourself. Second, when I see large unexpected expenses on the credit card statement, this is crucial. It's not when you spend recklessly. It's not a judgment on their character. It is a specific, observable, neutral behavior. It's a fact. The expenses are on the statement. This moves the conversation away from a character assassination and onto a specific, solvable problem. Third, because it makes me worry we won't be able to cover the mortgage. This explains the consequence for you. It connects their action to your feeling. It's not just random anxiety. It's rooted in a shared practical concern, the house. This gives them context. They can now understand why you are bringing this up, not just that you are angry. The entire statement transforms the interaction. It goes from, you are a bad person, to here is my experience of this situation, and it's causing me distress. This doesn't guarantee they'll immediately agree or change, but it opens a door for a completely different kind of conversation. Instead of defending their character, they might respond with, I didn't realize it was making you feel that scared. Or, okay, let's look at the statement together and figure out a plan. You've shifted from a fight about who is right or wrong to a problem-solving session about how to manage finances and reduce anxiety. Let's apply it to the other side of that argument. Instead of, you never listen to me, try this. I feel dismissed and unimportant when I bring up the golf membership and the conversation gets changed, because it feels like my concerns about our budget aren't being heard. Again, I feel dismissed and unimportant. That's your feeling. It's undeniable. When I bring up the golf membership and the conversation gets changed, that's the specific behavior, not an accusation of their overall character. Because it feels like my concerns aren't being heard. That's the impact. This is not about being passive or weak. It's the opposite. It's about being incredibly precise and strategic with your language. It takes immense self-control to pause, identify your actual feeling underneath the anger. Is it fear? Disrespect? Loneliness? And articulate it clearly instead of just lashing out. But beware of the trap, the fake I statement. This is a you statement disguised in sheep's clothing. It sounds like this: I feel like you're being a total jerk. Or, I feel that you are intentionally trying to ruin my life. See the trick? The words I feel are there, but they are immediately followed by you and a judgment. That's not sharing a feeling. That's just a slightly more passive-aggressive way of pointing the finger. A true I statement is about your emotional state and your experience. In the mediation room, this skill is your superpower. The mediator's job is not to decide who is the better spouse or who is more at fault. Their job is to help you build a functional agreement for the future. When you fill the room with you statements, you are forcing the mediator to manage a firefight. You are dragging them back into the past, into a history of slights and arguments they cannot possibly solve. But when you walk in armed with I statements, you change the entire dynamic. You are providing the mediator with the actual solvable problems. The problem isn't that your ex is reckless. The problem is that you need a predictable, agreed-upon budget to feel secure. The problem isn't that your ex never listens. The problem is you need a structured way to ensure both of your financial concerns are put on the table and addressed. Using I statements says to your ex-partner and to the mediator, I am here to solve the problem, not to win the fight. I am willing to take responsibility for my own feelings and communicate them clearly, and I am inviting you to do the same. It's a fundamental shift from blaming the other person for your feelings to taking ownership of them and asking for help in addressing the behaviors that trigger them. This is the bedrock of mature, effective communication, and it's the fastest way to cut through the noise and get to the heart of what really needs to be decided. It's how you stop litigating the past and start co-designing the future. And this co-design process is built on one of the most powerful and frankly most difficult communication strategies in all of mediation. It's a principle I call the windshield perspective. Imagine you're driving a car. The windshield in front of you is massive. It gives you a wide, clear view of the road ahead, where you're going, the obstacles you need to navigate, and the destination you're trying to reach. Now think about the rearview mirror. It's tiny. It's designed for quick, occasional glances to see what's directly behind you, to understand the context of where you just came from. But if you try to drive your car by staring only into that tiny rearview mirror, what happens? You crash. Inevitably, you crash spectacularly. Divorce mediation is exactly like driving that car. Your future, your financial stability, your co-parenting relationship, your personal peace, is the road ahead, viewed through that giant windshield. The past, the arguments, the betrayals, the hurt, the he said, she said. That is the rearview mirror. The single biggest mistake people make in mediation is trying to drive their entire future while staring intently into that tiny mirror of the past. Every conversation becomes about who was right, who was wrong, who hurt who more. You're trying to win arguments that are already over. You're trying to get an admission of guilt or an apology that may never come. You are litigating history, and in doing so, you are steering your life directly into a wall. The windshield perspective is the conscious, deliberate, and often painful choice to spend 95% of your energy looking forward. It's not about pretending the past didn't happen. You can't ignore it. You need to glance in that rearview mirror to understand how you got here. But you cannot make it your focus. Every time your spouse brings up an old fight, every time you feel that burning desire to relitigate a painful memory from 3 years ago, you have to mentally grab the steering wheel and force your eyes back to the road ahead. This is where a simple, tactical question becomes your greatest tool. It's the pivot. When the conversation starts spiraling into the past, you pivot it back to the future. Let's say your spouse says, "Well, we wouldn't be in this financial mess if you hadn't insisted on that ridiculous kitchen remodel 5 years ago." The instinctive response is to defend. It wasn't ridiculous. You wanted it too. And what about that car you bought without telling me? And just like that, you're both staring in the rearview mirror, speeding toward a crash. Instead, you deploy the pivot. You take a breath, acknowledge the comment without engaging the fight, and pivot to the future. You could say, "I understand you're frustrated about past financial decisions. Right now in this room, what is the most productive step we can take to create a secure financial plan for both of us moving forward?" Or, "You're right, there were decisions we both made that led us here. Given where we are today, what does a fair and equitable division of our current assets and debts look like?" Notice the language. It's not about agreement or apology. It's about redirection. It's about being the one person in the room disciplined enough to keep your eyes on the windshield. This isn't easy. It feels like you're letting them win the argument about the past. But you have to redefine what winning means. Winning isn't getting them to admit they were wrong about the kitchen. Winning is walking out of that mediation with a fair settlement that secures your future. Winning is creating a stable co-parenting plan that protects your children. Winning is getting your life back. To make this mental shift easier, I want you to adopt a new frame of reference for the entire process. Stop thinking of this as the end of a marriage. Start thinking of it as the dissolution of a long-term business partnership. That's what it is. You were co-CEOs of a complex, emotional, and financial entity called Our Family Incorporated. You shared assets, you incurred debts, you managed personnel, your children, and you invested in long-term projects. Now the partnership is dissolving. The goal is no longer to make the partnership work. The goal is to unwind the partnership in the most orderly, efficient, and fair way possible, so that both partners can go on to form new, successful ventures. When you think like a business partner instead of a wounded spouse, your language changes automatically. The emotional charge dissipates, replaced by a sense of pragmatic purpose. "You were always so controlling about the money" becomes, "Let's have the mediator help us review our financial records to establish a clear picture of our assets and liabilities. I can't believe you want to sell the house. You know how much it means to the kids." Becomes, "The house is our largest shared asset. Let's analyze two scenarios, one where we sell it and split the equity, and one where one of us buys the other out. What are the financial implications of each for both of us? This isn't about being cold or unfeeling. It's about being effective. You are there to negotiate a contract, a separation agreement. This is arguably one of the most important business deals you will ever make in your entire life. It will dictate your financial reality for years, possibly decades. Would you go into a multi-million-dollar business negotiation screaming about how your partner hurt your feelings 5 years ago? No. You'd be focused, prepared, and strategic. You'd be focused on the outcome. That is the mindset you must bring into the mediation room. And if you have children, the reframe is even more critical. Your business partnership in Our Family Incorporated is dissolving. But you are not liquidating all assets. You are spinning off a new joint venture. That joint venture is called Co-Parenting LLC. You are now permanent, non-negotiable business partners in the project of raising healthy, happy children. Your personal feelings for each other are now irrelevant to the success of this new venture. Your ability to communicate professionally, logistically, and respectfully is the only thing that matters. So when you're discussing custody, you're not fighting over who gets the kids. You're two business partners drafting an operating agreement for your most important project. The conversation shifts from, "You're not a good enough parent to have them on school nights," to, "For the success of our joint venture, consistency in the children's routine is paramount. Let's design a schedule that minimizes disruption and ensures both of us are actively involved in their education and well-being." You're not exes fighting. You're co-executives strategizing. This reframe, from wounded lovers to business partners, combined with the windshield perspective, is the 1-2 punch that breaks the cycle of blame and recrimination. It transforms mediation from a battle over the past into a negotiation for the future. It's not about forgetting the pain. The pain is real. It's about compartmentalizing that pain so that it doesn't poison the negotiations that will define the rest of your life. You can and should process that pain with a therapist, with friends, with family. But the mediation room is a boardroom. It's where you make the clear-headed strategic decisions that will give you the resources and the peace of mind to actually heal and build a new life you love. So, if the mediation room is a boardroom, how do you conduct yourself like a CEO of your own future? How do you pivot from emotional reaction to strategic action? You do it by mastering a set of elite-level communication tools. These aren't just tips. They are tactical instruments designed to keep you in control, focused, and moving toward your objective. The first, and perhaps most counterintuitive tool, is the strategic use of silence. In a high-stakes conversation, our instinct is to fill every empty space. We're afraid silence will be mistaken for weakness, or that it gives the other person power. The exact opposite is true. When your spouse makes an outrageous demand or a deliberately hurtful statement, saying something like, "You'll never get the house, I'll make sure of it," our knee-jerk reaction is to defend, to argue, to counterattack. "What do you mean I'll never get it? After everything I've done?" And just like that, you're off the rails, pulled back into the old emotional patterns. The C-suite move is to do nothing. You hear the outrageous statement. You make eye contact with the mediator to acknowledge you've heard it. And then you wait. You take a slow, deliberate sip of water. You look down at your notepad. You breathe. This silence is deafeningly loud. Does 3 critical things. First, it completely disarms their attack. An attack needs a response to have energy. Without it, it just fizzles out in the open air. Second, it communicates unshakable confidence. You're not rattled. You're not triggered. You're so grounded in your position that their bluster doesn't even register as a threat. Third, and this is the magic, it puts all the pressure back on them. Most people are deeply uncomfortable with silence. They will rush to fill it, often by talking themselves down from their own extreme position. They might follow up with a weaker, "Well, I just mean we have to figure out a fair way to do it." Boom! You just won the point without saying a single word. Silence is not an absence of communication. It's a powerful form of it. The second tool is what I call the anchor statement. For every major issue on the table, parenting time, asset division, spousal support, you need to develop one clear, concise, and non-negotiable core principle. This is your anchor. It's not an aggressive demand. It's a statement of fact or a fundamental need. For example, your anchor statement on parenting might be, "The children's stability requires them to remain in their current school district." Your anchor on finances might be, "To be self-sufficient, I need to retain the liquid assets from the joint savings account." The power of the anchor statement is in its repetition. When your ex-spouse tries to pull you into the weeds, arguing about old vacations, who said what in 2015, or their new partner's opinion, you don't engage. You let them finish, you pause, and you calmly return to your anchor. They might say, "But you don't need that much money, you're being greedy, you always wanted more, more, more." You don't defend your character. You don't argue about the past. You simply state, to be self-sufficient, I need to retain the liquid assets from the joint savings account. They might try a different angle. Well, what about the ski trip the kids want to go on? How will we pay for that if you take all the savings? You don't get sidetracked by the ski trip. You reply, we can discuss extracurriculars once the core assets are divided. To be self-sufficient, I need to retain the liquid assets from the joint savings account. It's the broken record technique, but elevated. You're not being robotic. You're being resolute. Your anchor holds the entire negotiation in place and prevents it from being swept away by a tide of emotional chaos. The third tool moves beyond the classic I statement into what we can call evidence-based framing. The basic I statement is good for de-escalation. I feel worried when you say that. But in the boardroom of mediation, feelings can still be debated. Your feelings are real, but they are not objective evidence. Evidence-based framing removes I feel and replaces it with the data shows, the document states, or the guideline is. Let's see it in action. Instead of saying, I feel like I do everything for the kids and you should pay for all their expenses, which is an invitation for a fight about who's the better parent, you say, I've prepared a spreadsheet of the children's documented expenses over the last 12 months, including school fees, healthcare, and extracurriculars. The total comes to X dollars per month. According to the state child support calculator, based on our respective incomes, this is the proposed contribution. See the difference? You've transformed a personal grievance into a business proposal supported by data. Instead of, I don't think it's fair that you get to keep your whole pension, you say. The law in this state defines marital property as all assets acquired during the marriage. The valuation of your pension from the date of marriage to the date of separation is X dollars. My proposal is for an equal division of that marital portion. It's not about fairness, it's about the law. It's not about what you think, it's about what the documents prove. This approach forces the conversation to stay in the realm of logic and facts, a territory where emotional manipulation and bullying have no power. Now this brings us to the most challenging scenario. Mediating with a high-conflict personality, someone who might have narcissistic traits, who thrives on chaos and control. For them, the goal isn't a fair settlement. It's to win, to punish you, to make you suffer. All the tools we've discussed are crucial here, but you need one more layer of defense, especially for communication that happens outside the mediation room via email or text. This is the BIF response. BIF is an acronym that will save your sanity. It stands for brief, informative, friendly, and firm. When you receive that long, rambling, accusatory email designed to bait you, the one that mixes a simple question about logistics with insults about your past, threats about the future, and digs at your family, you do not respond in kind. You apply BIF. Brief. Your response should be a few sentences. Max. High-conflict people feed on attention. Don't give them a novel to dissect. The shorter your response, the less they have to work with. Informative. This is the core of your message. Your response should only contain objective information. No opinions, no emotions, no arguments, no defense. Just the facts. Friendly. This is the disarming part. Start with a simple, pleasant opening like thanks for the email, or hope you're having a good week. It's not about being fake, it's about being strategic. A friendly tone gives them no emotional hook to latch onto. It shows you are calm and in control. Firm. Your response should clearly end the conversation. You're not leaving the door open for more debate. You state the information and you're done. Let's walk through an example. Imagine you get this email. I can't believe you're trying to take the kids to your mother's this weekend when you know she hates me and always undermines my parenting. You've always been selfish, only thinking of yourself. You're going to turn them against me. And by the way, when are you going to send me the paperwork for the car title? You're probably holding it hostage on purpose, just like you do with everything else. Your emotional response is to defend your mom, defend your parenting, and fire back about the car title. The BIF response is this. Hi, X's name. Thanks for reaching out. Yes, I'll be taking the kids to my mother's on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., as we agreed. I've attached the signed car title paperwork to this email. Best. Your name. Let's break it down. Brief? Absolutely. For short sentences. Informative? It confirms the plan and states that the paperwork is attached. It's pure information. Friendly? It starts with a simple neutral greeting. Firm? It answers the questions and provides the document, leaving nothing further to discuss. It completely ignores the insults, the accusations, and the bait. It's like being a gray rock. You're so boring and unresponsive that they eventually get tired of throwing themselves against you. Mastering the BIF response is your superpower for managing out-of-session communication and keeping your peace of mind intact. By combining the strategic pause, the anchor statement, evidence-based framing, and the BIF response, you're no longer just a participant in your mediation. You are a calm, prepared, and effective strategist. You are operating from a place of strength, not a place of pain. You have the tools to navigate the conversation, sidestep the traps, and keep your eyes firmly on the prize. A fair settlement and a new beginning. And now you're in the final stretch. This is where fatigue can set in. It's where the temptation to say, fine, whatever, just to get it over with, is at its absolute peak. Do not give in to this temptation. This is the fourth quarter, the final 2 minutes of the game. How you finish determines the outcome. Often, the last 5% of the negotiation is the hardest, centered on 1 or 2 stubborn issues. Maybe it's who gets the family dog, a specific piece of art, or the last few percentage points of a retirement account. Here, the mediator might suggest a mediator's proposal. This is a powerful tool. The mediator, having heard both sides confidentially, will craft what they believe is a fair, global settlement. They present it to each of you separately. You can only say yes or no. You don't get to know your ex's answer unless you both say yes. If one says no, the other never knows if you were on the verge of a deal. This removes the ego and the fear of looking weak. It allows both parties to agree to a neutral third-party solution without feeling like they lost to their spouse. If this option is presented, consider it very carefully. It's often the key that unlocks the final door. But whether it's through a proposal or one final round of negotiation, you will eventually reach an agreement. And that agreement will be memorialized in a document. It might be called a memorandum of understanding, a stipulated judgment, or a marital settlement agreement. The name doesn't matter. The words inside it matter more than almost any words you will ever read. This document is not just a summary of your mediation. It will become a legally binding court order that will govern your finances, your property, and your relationship with your children for years, possibly decades to come. I want you to treat this document like a surgeon treats a patient. Every single word, every comma, every number must be scrutinized. I knew a man, let's call him David. He was so emotionally drained by the end of his mediation that when the draft agreement arrived, he just skimmed it. It all looked right. The house, the custody schedule, the alimony amount. He signed it. A year later, he realized the agreement stated that his alimony payments were non-modifiable. Not for any reason. Not if he lost his job, not if he became disabled. A few years after that, his company downsized and he was laid off. His ex-wife's attorney correctly pointed to the agreement he signed. David was legally obligated to continue paying thousands of dollars a month with zero income, forcing him to liquidate his retirement savings to avoid being in contempt of court. A single clause, 2 words, non-modifiable, devastated his financial future. All because he was too tired to read carefully. Do not be David. Read every line. Then read it again. Then, and this is the most important piece of advice in this entire series, you must take that draft agreement to your own independent consulting attorney for review. Never, ever sign a final divorce agreement without having your own lawyer. Someone whose only job is to protect your interests, review it first. The mediator is neutral. They cannot give you legal advice. Your consulting attorney can. They will spot the traps. They will see the ambiguous language that could be a problem down the road. They will translate the legalese into plain English and tell you exactly what you are agreeing to. This is not a sign of distrust in the mediation process. It is the final, critical step of a smart, strategic process. It's the quality control check that ensures the foundation of your new life is solid. A good settlement agreement doesn't just solve today's problems. It anticipates tomorrow's. This is where you future-proof your divorce. Your agreement should be a roadmap for handling potential disagreements later, so you don't end up back in court. What happens if one of you wants to move out of state with the children? The agreement should detail the notification process, the requirements for consent, and the method for resolving a dispute if you can't agree. What happens if one of you loses your job and can't pay support? The agreement should outline a procedure for temporary modification. What about college costs for the children? Don't just say you'll split it. Define what costs are included. Tuition only? Or room board fees and books? Is there a cap, for instance, limiting the contribution to the cost of an in-state public university? Think through the what-ifs. What if your ex gets a massive inheritance or remarries? Does that impact alimony? The agreement needs to say so. What about life insurance? It is standard practice to require each party to maintain a life insurance policy naming the other as beneficiary, to secure support obligations in case of a tragedy. Is the amount specified? Is the type of policy specified? The more detail you include now, the less ambiguity and conflict there will be later. You are creating a private contract for your post-divorce life. Make it as clear and comprehensive as humanly possible. Once the agreement is reviewed, revised, and finalized, you will sign it. And that moment can be incredibly strange. There's no fanfare, no ceremony. You're often just in a conference room or at your lawyer's office, signing a stack of papers. And in that moment, with the stroke of a pen, a chapter of your life officially closes. Allow yourself to feel whatever comes up. It might be overwhelming relief. It might be profound sadness. It might be fear of the unknown, or a flicker of excitement for the future. Often it's all of those things at once. There is no right or wrong way to feel. You have just navigated one of life's most difficult transitions. Be kind to yourself. That signed agreement is then submitted to the court. A judge will review it, and as long as it's not wildly unfair and meets all the legal requirements, they will sign it and incorporate it into your final divorce decree. At that point, you are officially divorced. The war is over. The negotiation is done. But your life is just beginning. The goal of all this work, of all these strategies and painful conversations, was not just to get a piece of paper from a judge. It was to give yourself the best possible launchpad for your new reality. The communication skills you honed in mediation, they don't disappear. They are now your tools for effective co-parenting. You've learned how to de-escalate, how to focus on logistics instead of emotion, and how to solve problems collaboratively for the sake of your children. Your journey as spouses is over, but your journey as co-parents is just starting, and you are now better equipped for it than ever before. The financial clarity you gained? That's your blueprint for rebuilding. You know exactly what you have, what you owe, and what you need. You can now work with a financial advisor to create a new budget, set new goals, and build a future that is entirely your own. You are no longer one half of a financial unit. You are the CEO of your own life. Divorce is an ending, there's no denying that. It's the end of a dream, the end of a shared future. But it is also, and I truly believe this, a powerful and profound beginning. It's a chance to redefine yourself, to rediscover passions you set aside, to build new relationships, and to design a life on your own terms. The process is brutal, but it forces you to become more resilient, more self-aware, and more capable than you ever thought possible. You started this process feeling lost, hurt, and overwhelmed. But by approaching it not as a victim, but as a strategist, by preparing, by communicating with intention, and by keeping your focus on a fair and durable outcome, you have taken control of your own narrative. You didn't just let your divorce happen to you. You actively shaped the outcome. You navigated the storm, and now you stand on the shore of a new life, a life you built. The future is unwritten, and for the first time in a long time, you are the one holding the pen. Go write a masterpiece.